You are in the rant wormhole where I rant about whatever my $15 a month plus patrons want me to rant about. You can get one by being one. This one is for Asaf Hadari. Asaf Hadari. I don't know how the fuck you pronounce that. Rant about Pokemon versus Digimon, rather about your genuine opinion or about the debate itself. Man, when I was a kid, Pokemon versus Digimon was definitely a conversation that was had. I was obviously hardcore Team Pokemon, and that's just because I found it first. Like, I was such a fanboy as a kid. Like, I was pure Nintendo, fuck Sony, fuck Xbox. Like, pure Pokemon, fuck Digimon. At least at first. And because, you know, I was such a big Pokemon fan, when I found out about Digimon, it was like kind of an affront to the existence of Pokemon in my mind. And I remember arguing with other kids about which came first, because, like, you know, the common thought was that one was ripping off the other. And I remember this kid always told me that Digimon had come first, and I was always saying Pokemon had come first, because the Pokemon anime had reached America first. The Pokemon anime definitely came out before the Digimon anime. I don't know about because Digimon started as like the Tamagotchi things, right? Like, I'm pretty sure it was originally just the pocket pet, and then it later expanded into a franchise beyond that. Whereas Pokemon started with the video games and the anime. The game for Pokemon came out in '96. I don't know when Digimon started, so search me. Who gives a shit? It was a playground argument from my childhood, but eventually I did get into Digimon, just not to nearly the extent of Pokemon. Like, I remember, like, at some point I started watching the show, and, like, the fact that it had more of an involving narrative was kind of interesting. Like, it was harder to follow for that reason. It wasn't a show you could just tune into any episode and immediately know what was going on, but if you watched enough of it in sequence, you would start to get a sense for what's happening, and you know, my biggest complaint about Digimon is really just that I don't like the monster designs that much. Like, particularly the evolved forms, I just think they look like ridiculous, over-designed shit. Like, I've never liked them, and even though I liked the base forms as a kid, and I liked the, I kind of liked the story from what I could piece together of it, I was never that interested in, like, the Digi evolutions, and the fact that they could evolve back. Like, and I mean, I obviously this is just because I was a Pokemon fan, but, like, to me, part of the appeal of Pokemon is that you evolve to this next form and you are just stronger than you were before. You know, like, in Digimon, they would Digivolve and then Digi-Devolve, I guess, and that never made sense to me. So, like, that, my tiny child brain couldn't fucking process that shit, you know? So, like, I wasn't as heavy into it, but I remember, like, I think there was some kind of marathon that had allowed me to get caught up on a lot of what was going on in the story. Eventually, I ended up buying a deck of the cards, but I don't remember learning how to play. Like, I remember it being maybe more complex than Pokemon, or just didn't have the same rules. I didn't know anybody who had any Digimon cards, so there was nobody to really play against. So, I only ever remember buying one deck of cards, watching the show for a couple afternoons, thinking it was pretty good, and then just, like, never seeing it again, because, you know, this is 1999 or 2000 or whatever. Like, it has to be on TV in front of me, or else I'm not going to be able to watch it. So yeah, and, you know, I was still obsessed with Pokemon, and that continued on, so Digimon just kind of fell by the wayside for me. And I have had conversations with people, like a friend of mine named Neil X, who I did the Elements of Brony series with. I was a participant in his Elements of Brony series. He is a huge Digimon fan who never had gotten into Pokemon, and he likes Digimon for its themes and for, like, this, the strong narrative, because the show does have, like, a way stronger narrative. Like, Pokemon is basically just an episodic adventure show, where Ash makes almost no progress as a human being until, like, 120 episodes in, you know. Digimon is, like, a more emotional narrative. The characters are a lot deeper and more well-realized. The narrative actually progresses, like, consistently throughout the story. So, like, he was always talking about Digimon and how much it meant to him, and I totally appreciate that. If you think Digimon is a better anime than Pokemon, very justifiable. As a franchise, though, Pokemon just has so many component parts, and a lot of it is just aesthetics. A lot of it is that the Pokemon look good or are based in interesting ideas. I like the world. I like the sort of conceit of Pokemon. Like it's a great fantasy, to have this whole constructed world full of all these creatures that you always want to explore and see more of, and it was very activating to the imagination as a child. Digimon, it's just a good show, that happens to have other media attached to it, but there's not that sensation of interconnectedness between all the different media the way that there is with Pokemon. So I guess it really just comes down to what your tastes are, which one you grew up with or cared about more at whatever point in your life. It's funny because I am Digibro, and a lot of people think that is a reference to Digimon. It is not. It's a reference to the song 21st Century Digital Boy, which used to be my handle. So, if you're disappointed that I actually don't know shit about Digimon, because I only ever saw, the first season. I've never returned to it. Not since I was a kid. I've seen it around, but I've never watched any more of it. And I know that the first and third seasons are supposed to be really great, so I would like to check them out, maybe on a finish or fail apocalypse whenever we get to the letter D. It'll be, I'll throw in Digimon and Digimon Tamers, because I want to watch Tamers just for the crazy Chiaki Kanaka shit. I want to see how fucked he made that kid's show, but otherwise, there's my thoughts.